University of Science and Technology. He is a business coach and entrepreneur with over 22 years of professional experience in marketing, strategizing, planning, business development, finance, and startup ventures. He has extensive experience of a wide range of sectors, including banking, information technology, education, real estate, consulting, and government projects. He has worked with big companies like ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Genpact, DLF Limited, etc., in different leadership roles. He holds a master's in business management, finance, and marketing, and master's in computer science. He has conducted motivational lectures and workshops on startup challenges and opportunities to budding entrepreneurs in over 40 management and technology institutes. Now, I hand over the virtual DAs to Ajay sir for the official commencement of the learning part of this session.
Thank you very much, Nehat. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
I would like to share my screen. Yeah.
I am stop sharing, sir.
Yeah. So I think I can do that.
Yeah.
Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good noon to each and everybody who's present here. Today, the program is done under Institutional Innovation Council, and the main aim of these sessions is primarily to really understand together different issues relating to startup, entrepreneurship, innovation, and this would be a journey. I would like all of you to come along with me. We would try and keep it interactive so that you guys can maximize the knowledge share, and hopefully I would also learn from many of you. So with much further ado, let's start that. Today we would be talking about basically two components, which is problem solution fit and product market fit. So let's see what we have. So before I actually jump on the topic, let's try and see why we are discussing these topics, because it's very important that this does not remain a theoretical subject, and we should also understand why this is so important, why we are talking on these topics, and why we have selected these topics to speak on. So we would start with 10 top startup mistakes which are observed. Most of budding entrepreneurs across the world, this is not India data, this is international data, and when they try to figure out what are the major problems or mistakes or goof ups which new budding entrepreneurs make, they come out with the top 10 score, and this is based on a survey. And let's see what are these top 10 mistakes. Number one mistake: building something which nobody wants. Right? It looks very silly, very obvious that nobody should be making this. But if the survey is to be believed, and in my personal experience also, this is one of the biggest mistakes which people make. They feel when they come with an idea, they think that this idea is something, the solution is something which everybody needs to have, right? So they figure out a problem and they find out a solution, or they ideate a solution, and then they think, okay, no, I'm sitting on the $1 billion idea. And the next thing they do is, without doing a proper fit, they go ahead and build that product or service, and that's where they commit the first and the cardinal mistake. They create a product without understanding the customer, without understanding the market, even many of them without understanding the problem. So this is why this is very, very important. Second is, if you see, poor hiring. That means people end up hiring people who are not conducive to their goals. Lack of focus. Yes, that's a problem because most of the people who do these startups and they are, trying to do different things at the same time. So they might lack focus because uh, young people typically have this tendency to get bored with something very fast, or let's say if even a small setback puts them off. They want instant results, and that if they don't get that, they typically have to a tendency of wander off. Failure to do sales and marketing, or a flawed pricing model. This is very common. This is again very very common. I'm amazed that it has come for me. I believe it would have been possibly two, right? But any case, that's a survey. Not having the right co-founders, the core team, chasing investors instead of customers. This is also one major thing you would always see. People who come to me, the young students come to me and say, okay sir, we have thought of this is a brilliant idea, let's find investors for it. And they create a imaginary budget. They don't even work on that part. So my first exercise with anybody who comes with me, for a discussion on their ideas, I ask them to formulate that business model first, because that's very very important. And we would see why that's very important. Not enough resources, they dry out very soon. So whatever they go, they think that okay, 10 lakh would be good enough, 20 lakh would be good enough, 1 crore would be good enough, 1 lakh would be good enough. And when they start implementing it, they find out they are already running out of the resources and they need to get more. And the cycle of chasing investors becomes very perennial and big problem for them. Spending too much too fast, that's also a tendency with the people who typically get decent investors. They end up actually spending too many things at they don't do bootstrap. Failure to ask for help, that's one more tendency, because the people with ideas typically entrepreneurs, they think that they can solve everything. No, understand, you have some talent, there are other people with other talent, there are some people who have seen it, who have gone through the whole process. No harm in trying to figure out if you are not getting the right things at the right time. Ignoring social media, that's also one important thing. We'll come to maybe not in this session, maybe one more session we can plan where we would talk about that part. But yeah, we would definitely touch upon this when we were talking about examples and all, right? So you see, the biggest mistake was trying to create a product which nobody wants. So you have thought of a problem and you created a solution, but they don't fit together. There is still a problem in that, because they don't cohesively fit together, which they should have. So this is called problem solution fit. So there are two parts of it: problem solution fit, that means there is a problem, then you find a solution, then there is a market. So it needs to fit with the problem. It also needs the final solution or product or service needs to fit well with the market also. So we would discuss both the things. First we will discuss this problem solution fit, right? It occurs when you have evidence that customer care about certain activities, products to be solved, and they create they have some value added to it. So this is the fit model, where we would be talking about, as very common sense, what you need to do. You need to define the problem first. Most of the people, when they come to me for their idea, their stress is much more on the idea, that means how they are going to solve it, instead of really understanding the problem. So they come up here, so sir, this is the problem we identify and this is the solution. uh, if you really want to create a good solution, you really need to understand the problem in entirety, right? So if you need to understand the problem in entirety, what you need to do, you need to go through the root cause. That means, what are those things which are causing that problem, right? So that means, for example, you see that there are uh, for example, let's pick up one example. uh, Mm, Okay, let's assume that there's a problem that people are not getting good nutrition food these days, which is a problem. Most of the people in middle class families also are down on nutrition. So why they are not getting the nutrition what they need? Now this is a problem. It is, you can talk to any parent, they would say yes, this is a problem. You talk to any doctor, they would say. So what is the solution? Solution is to provide them with a nutrition supplement, right? A food supplement. Is that a solution? Okay, fine. And you start jumping on that, how I need to give those nutrition to those kids which are available. Now, you have gone and spoken about a problem, but have you gone to the root cause? Why people with money, people with enough resources, their children are lacking proper nutrition? There has to be something. It is not as simple as that they are not getting it. So you figure out a solution. And if you figure out a solution, you would still not be able to capture that market. So what could be what could be the possible solution which you can figure it out, you know? So you have to find the root cause first. So you go to root cause. What is the root cause for this problem? uh, why people with enough resources are not getting nutrition, right? The right kind of nutrition. So that means it is a lifestyle problem. It is a problem of timing. Maybe most both the parents are working and they don't have permanent help at their place. They don't have a joint family. Uh, the kids are already attuned or accustomed to Western food or fast food lifestyle, which typically lacks the nutrition what they need, and they don't go for Indian sort of cooking because it takes more time, it's more cumbersome, and their taste buds are not developed. Like I'm sure that many of you who are in most of urban areas, there are three foods which these urbanites typically go for. Can you guess? Can somebody, Neha or anybody who can open the mic, can you guess those foods? Anyone?
So
Am I
Kaushik,
audible? I can't hear anyone. Hello? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm not able to hear someone.
No, sir. Gunja ma'am, are they muted?
Yes, they are muted. They can write in chat box.
Yeah, I can.
Students, you can write in chat box.
This was just a very quick thing which I wanted. So if you see, uh, yeah. So anybody with some answers? Okay. Okay. Let's talk about, right. So my guess, because
We're getting
you
some
know
responses from
what I junk food or fast food, yeah, pizza, burgers, and momos, right? These are like very staple diet of today's generation, especially people in urban areas, right? So now when you eat pizzas, typically most of the people do not go for a full veggie or that kind of pizza. They typically go with a very single or double toppings. In burger, there is any case not enough nutrition. Most of the all three stuff are made of uh, maida, which is a processed flour, which lacks the fibers and other nutrients which a full um, atta or atta based diet would have. So you see now, because of this, and the cheese, right? This generation love cheese, right? That's the only nutrition thing they typically go for, and that's to a processed cheese, right? So now, because of this, the root cause is not what you thought, that okay, they are not getting enough money, they don't have supply to the food, they don't get access to fruits or vegetables or other things which are nutrition, other kind of cereals and all. But what they lack is the lifestyle choices. Now they have developed a different taste, and now their parents don't have time, or they do not really relish cooking that much, the kids of this generation, let's say. uh, Now when you go to root cause, then you can figure out, yes, my solution needs to be built around something which can address these problems, right? But typically, when people think of these things, they don't typically go in this direction. So you need to figure out a root cause of a problem. Then you also need to figure out what is the type of that problem, right? Is this physical, is it mental, is it financial, is it business, it is organizational? So you need to clearly define it, right? Is it like that laziness, that I don't know, some अगर मेरे को अच्छा सा सैलेड बना के कोई दे दे तो मैं खा सकता हूँ या खा सकती हूँ, अदरवाइज मतलब मेरे मुंह में कोई फ्रूट चाट ला के दे दे मेरे को अच्छे से बना हुआ, यस आई कैन ईट दैट, आई वुड लव टू ईट दैट, बट उसको धोए काटे छीले कौन, right? Yeah, let's say if there is a good upma, or there is a good food which is made of the nutrition, high nutrition value, I can eat it, but somebody needs to prepare and get it ready, right? So that can be a problem. So you need to figure out what exactly is the problem, define it, type it. What is the frequency of that problem? Is it a recurring problem? Do people solve it? What is the kind of value people attach if you provide that solution? What are the symptoms, right? What are the ways people react when they find this problem? What is their general reaction? General reaction is like 5 minute का lecture from mom or dad, and that's enough, right? उसके बाद फिर वही next day से फिर same thing, right? और let's say 3 दिन तक असर रहा उसका, उसके बाद people so what is that induced behavior? So that means you need to figure out, as a marketeer, as a person who is creating that solution for this problem, that where I need to fine tweak my solution, right? Then you need to also have second part of it is customer. You need to define your customer well, in terms of the demographic of that customer, its segment, economy, what is the kind of financial bracket what is the access, are they in vicinity of a live food counter? Can a live food counter be supported by this segment? Are they scattered across? What is the composition of my customer demographic? Their limitation. What is their limitation? They have two kids who are like 10 and 12. They cannot cook themselves. They don't have a full-time maid, or somebody who can cook good food for them. So is that the limitation? They don't have, let's say, nobody is there to take them out, or bring them food. So the delivery is the problem. They don't trust the delivery guys. There can be many such issues. What are the available solutions? So what they do in lack of this, what they do, what is the second best solution? Like I tell you, in India, this is not a new problem, right? If you go back a few decades ago, the nutrition problem has been perennial problem, right? How did they figure out? They figure out by adding certain specific foods and specific time of year. Like if you see अपनी दादी नानी के यहाँ पे आप जाओगे या याद करोगे, so they used to make these laddus, right? Goond, I don't know whether you heard of it or not. So goond का लड्डू या पंजीरी का लड्डू या multiple things, उसमें काजू किशमिश ये वो अटरम शटरम, मतलब they would put anything and everything under the whatever they have in the kitchen, right? That food is specifically only for winters, right? Because its tasir is very warm, and it has a pith padarth. So it allows your body to remain warm. It allows your digestion to happen, because in winters you typically have a better digestion, and it has a lot of fat also. So you give that nutrition, and it has lot many specifically chosen ingredients which would give, like methi. You would eat in winters, right? There is a logic for that, right? You need more iron in winters, blah blah blah, right? And then when you talk about summers, there are different fruits for summer. There are different supplements, food supplements for summer. So you see, every time you would figure out that there is some certain things on those specific time of the year, right? So you supplement your regular nutrition need for that. So what were the available solutions? Are they available right now or not? Right? You need to, as a person who is trying to figure out a solution, you need to do that. What are the triggers, right? That means what triggers that problem. That means once they find out that that problem is there, what is that single trigger which picks up? क्या वो उनको चक्कर आते हैं तब उनको पता चलता है मेरी न्यूट्रिशन कम है, या आंखों के आगे काले घेरे पड़ जाते हैं तब पता चलता है कि कम है, या टिपिकली मॉम्स, राइट, कि कुछ गड़बड़ होगी, कुछ टूट गया, कुछ ये हो गया, उसके बाद डांट पड़नी शुरू हुई, वहां से होते 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 और फिर सीधा खाने में पहुंच गई कि तुम ढंग से कुछ नहीं खाते हो, ब्ला 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 ब्ला, right? So what is that trigger? You need to know that trigger. Is that environment? Is that, let's say, specific time of the year which creates that problem? Like some people have these allergies, right? They occur in specific. It's because of low immunity sometimes, right? So low immunity also leads to again and again falling ill to it. And we are going through corona, and you see that people and kids with higher immunity, they don't find any problem, right? So what is the type? Again, the trigger type. Here we are not talking about the problem type. Here we are talking about the triggers type. So it's the financial trigger. घर में कुछ पैसा आता है या चला जाता है तब खर्चा होता है, या तुमने 1,000 रुपए का पिज्जा मंगा लिया तब तुम्हें और 3 दिन लगातार मंगा लिया और तब तुम्हें वो भाषण सुनने को मिला. So what that triggers, right? You need to figure that out. I'll come to later on how you can use these triggers when building your product. What are the blockers? So that means what blocks that trigger, right? So it's like मम्मी को पता ही ना दो, मम्मी पापा ऑफिस में होंगे तब हम मंगा लेंगे खाना, right? So that's also a blocker, right? अगर कैश पैसे दे सकते हो. So what are those blockers which are used to stop that trigger? So once you know this thing, you then try and define your solution. Many of the students and youngsters who come to me for incubation, they typically come up with, let's say, sir, this is my solution, but they don't define it well. They know what is the solution overall, what they need to provide to the market, but they fail to define it. And आपको लगेगा बड़ा कागजी काम है, क्यों डिफाइन करना है, क्यों कर. The reason why you need to define it is primarily to really see whether you are addressing the exact problem which you found out, or you are still going around the bush, right? This is where you would figure that out. You need to figure out the type of the solution, the frequency of your solution, access to your solution, that and the price and cost factors. So these are like 4 parameters you need to do. In terms of, this is the solution for that problem. This is not your solution, right? This is the solution for the problem. आपने प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई की, अब आपने सोल्यूशन किया कि इसके लिए न्यूट्रिशन सप्लीमेंट्स होने चाहिए, राइट? विटामिन ए, विटामिन बी, विटामिन सी, लेट्स से कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम, सिल्वर, गोल्ड, व्हाटएवर, राइट? सो यू हैव फिगर्ड आउट कि एक आदमी को इतना प्रोटीन, इतना विटामिन ए, विटामिन डी, विटामिन दिस हैज टू गो, राइट? सो वो खाने से नहीं हो सकता. तो सोल्यूशन क्या है? सोल्यूशन इस तब में हम मानेंगे वो सोल्यूशन जिससे पैसा बन सके, राइट? कमर्शियल सोल्यूशन, मतलब नॉट कि वो खुद अपना लाइफस्टाइल चेंज कर ले तो सोल्यूशन है. हाँ, उस लाइफस्टाइल को चेंज करने के लिए आप कुछ कर सकते हो, उसमें पैसा बना सकते हो, देन इट्स अ बिजनेस मॉडल. सो यू आर फाइंडिंग अ सोल्यूशन व्हिच हैज अ कमर्शियल वैल्यू. सो एक सोल्यूशन की क्या होना चाहिए सोल्यूशन. Then you see present. What are the present solution? What is their type? What is their coverage? What are the positive? What are the pain areas of the solution which are there available in the market? It can be exact product. It can be service. It can be something which is traditionally available, not being utilized. and then you figure it out, zoom it up, and figure it out your solution. So based on your present solution and your solution definition, then you come out and your solution, and then you see whether you fit into that lab, which is there, that gap which is available for you to just plug in. So this was the product solution fit, right? The problem solution fit. So we figure out problem, we have to define. There were three specific factors: problem, customer, and triggers. You need to know, and then you need to know you need to define the problem, you need to define the solutions which are available in the market, you need to define the solution, the best solution, and then you have to figure out your solution. You need to define that. So आपने अब हमको solution मिल गया. लेट्स से इस प्रोडक्ट का हमने क्या सोल्यूशन निकाला कि लेट्स से एक खाने का रेडीमेड आइटम होना चाहिए जो हम होम डिलीवर कर सके और वो रिलेटिवली फ्रेश हो, इसकी शेल्फ लाइफ कुछ लेट्स से 30 दिन 40 दिन हो कम से कम, और वो उस फूड की कमी को पूरा कर सके. नाउ दिस इज द सॉल्यूशन. वी फिगर आउट कि हमें ये ऐसा कुछ बनाना है. तो हमने डिसाइड किया हम 3-4 तरह के फूड सप्लीमेंट्स बनाएंगे जो हम मार्केट में देंगे. नाउ कम हमको हमारा प्रोडक्ट डिफाइन हो गया. अब आते हैं मार्केट फिट पे कि प्रोडक्ट मार्केट में फिट हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा. व्हेन यू से मार्केट, अभी हमने क्या करा था, सॉल्यूशन और प्रॉब्लम के बीच में सामंजस्य बिठाया था, राइट? वी वांटेड टू सी वेदर आवर प्रॉब्लम एंड सॉल्यूशन fit together properly or not. Our solution is covering that solution problem properly or not. So this was the first phase. In the second phase, when we said okay ठीक है, ये अगर solution बनता है तो ये problem को cover कर लेगा. This is right now you are addressing the problem in technicalities of it. Now let's come to the market of it. When you say market, as soon as you say the word market, then you have the consumer, access to that consumer, financial issues, cost issues, the chain, supply chain, everything comes in, right? So that's the market. Consumer behavior, everything. How the competition would do it, what is the advertisement and marketing sphere. So you need to address that part here. So we will address it. So in nutshell, product market fit means being in a good market where the product can satisfy that market. यानी उसकी मार्केट होनी चाहिए और आपका प्रोडक्ट उस मार्केट की नीड को सेटिस्फाई कर सके, ऐसा होना चाहिए. So that's where you say proper market fit. So in product market fit, this is the model. Again, 3 basic constituents. So these 3 basic constituents would be hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, yeah, there was a message.
Yeah, I also checked that. But you're audible. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to the product market fit model, there are 3 again very very important thing और बड़ी simple है, कोई बड़े jargons नहीं है, right? If you go through them, it is absolutely common sense, but common sense well defined, well processized, right? You need to figure out every step of the process. So in this, feasibility, valuable, and viable. So that means the product should be feasible, it should be viable, and it should be valuable. Now let's figure out what are these term means. So feasible, first thing, आपने solution सोच तो लिया कि आप ऐसा बनाओगे. लेट्स से मैंने सोच दिया एक कैप्सूल बनाता हूं जिसके अंदर सारे विटामिन, प्रोटीन और सब कुछ होगा. एक वो कैप्सूल गप किया and you are done. So now, is that product feasible? What are the technologies you need to create that? You need to synthesize chemicals, figure out the basic structure of vitamins, proteins, and all that. You need to figure out where the source would be, where that would be artificial source or organic source, natural source, how you would come to that, how the synthesizes chemical process would work, what is the minimum quantity you need to have that kind of so that's one thing. What are the support requirements deliver that desired quality? what are the people and partners you should get involved with. There need to be a scientific research, there need to be let's say government approvals for that, because अगर आप ऐसी कोई केमिकल दे रहे हो खाने के लिए तो आपको जैसे यूएसएम एफडीए अप्रूवल होता है, यहाँ पर आपका आपको फसाई कर लेना पड़ेगा अगर आप कुछ फूड प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर कैप्सूल बना रहे हैं तो आपको फार्मा का लेना पड़ेगा, राइट। सो यू नीड टू फिगर आउट कि गवर्नमेंट के रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस क्या हैं, उसमें उसके स्टैंडर्ड्स क्या हैं, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ सेटअप यू नीड टू हैव, what kind of capital you need to have, how much time and money it will take to develop the product. In nutshell, we need to figure out, can we do this? आप अपनी इस हालत में जैसे भी हो, राइट, जो भी आपके पास रिसोर्सेज हैं, जो भी आपके पास अवेलेबल इंटेलिजेंस है, आपके पास जो भी रिसोर्सेज एक्सेसेस हैं, नेटवर्क है, क्या उसके बेसिस पे वुड यू बी एबल टू डू दैट प्रोडक्ट और नॉट? टेक्नोलॉजी है उस प्रोडक्ट को बनाने की। आज की डेट में क्या एक कैसा कैप्सूल बन सकता है जिसको खाने के बाद बिल्कुल आदमी तंदुरुस्त रहे? द आंसर फॉर दैट इज नो। So that means you need to change your solution. Okay, now I've thought of कि चलो कैप्सूल नहीं बना सकते, चलो लड्डू बनाते हैं, राइट, और लड्डू की शेप के लेट्स से फूड बॉल्स बनाते हैं, राइट। सो वी वुड सप्लाई दीज लड्डू काइंड ऑफ फूड which would be different taste, मीठा, नमकीन, whatever. So it would be different taste with different supplements. Can we do this? तो क्या क्या चाहिए उसको बनाने के लिए, क्या नेचुरल चीजों से बन जाएगा, क्या क्वांटिटी एनफ होगी, कितना उसको डेली खाना पड़ेगा, ऑल दैट, राइट। सो दिस इज फर्स्ट थिंग, क्या वो फिजिबल भी है या नहीं है, या वो बस थ्योरेटिकल है, या आने वाले टाइम में बहुत, और लेट्स से हमें लगाया कि हम बिहेवियरल चेंज कर दें, राइट, कि बच्चे अपने आप ही एक्टिवेट हो जाएं कुछ खाने के लिए, तो उस बिहेवियर चेंज को लाने के लिए क्या वो फिजिबल है आज की डेट में? क्या कोई टेक्नोलॉजी ऐसी है जो उसको बिहेवियर चेंज कर सके बच्चों का, और वो आप बड़े पैमाने पे सबको कर सको, यानी सबको हिप्नोटाइज करके एक जगह उनको भेज सको, अपनी दुकान पे लेके आ जाओ भाई, हमारे पैसे ले आओ। सो इज दैट पॉसिबल? नो, दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल। सो दैट मीन्स वी कैन नॉट डू दिस एट दिस स्टेज। सो यू नीड टू लीव दैट ऑप्शन. So you need to figure out something which you can do. So feasibility becomes very important. Then valuable. That means आपका कस्टमर, जो आपका पोटेंशियल कस्टमर है, डज ही हैव वैल्यू फॉर दैट, राइट। आपने एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया जिसकी वैल्यू उसके लिए नहीं है। लाइक फॉर दैट मैटर, if you realize that many people create a mobile app for their business product, right? Every day I come across some people who say, this is my solution and I would make an app, wherein the consumer behavior for that thing is not a very regular. It does not happen like साल में एक बार चाहिए। like आपने प्रॉपर्टी खरीदने के लिए अगर कोई वो बनाना है, प्रॉपर्टी के बिजनेस में ऐप बनाने हैं, does it make sense to make an app, or a web based portal would be good enough? In that case, a web based portal would be good enough, because it's not that every day तुम बैठ के ऐप में ढूंढते रहते हो कि आज कहाँ घर खरीदूं, आज यहाँ घर खरीदना है, right? That does not happen. That is not a buying behavior. आप घर खरीदते हो 5 साल में, 4 साल में, 3 साल में एक बार, right? हर साल घर खरीदने वाले बहुत कम लोग होते हैं, बेसिकली वो फिर वो डीलर ही होते हैं, right? But not average people buy houses every second year, right? It happens like once in a 5 year. So even if that's still a very less time for me, right? Now, do you need so customer would attach value to an app for that? No, they would not. So इसलिए किसी भी की ऐसी ऐप जो है वो सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगी। So you need to figure out whether customer needs that product or not. उसकी वैल्यू कर रहा है वो, मतलब आप जो सोल्यूशन दे रहे हो उसकी नजर में, कस्टमर की नजर में उसकी वैल्यू है या नहीं है। What is the frequency of the product, which I said कि what is the frequency of that product, right? How much price customer is willing to pay. क्या कस्टमर उतना पैसा जितना आप मांगना चाहते हो या जितनी की उसकी कॉस्ट पड़ती है वो देता है? लेट्स से आपके जो सप्लीमेंट हम प्लान कर रहे थे, इस सप्लीमेंट की एक लड्डू की कॉस्ट 200 रुपए आती है, वुड द कस्टमर पे 200 रुपीज पर डे फॉर अ सप्लीमेंट, अ फूड सप्लीमेंट? द आंसर मोस्ट लाइकली वुड बी नो। सो अगर आपका आपका कस्टमर उसकी वैल्यू क्या देख रहा है। यानी अगर आप घर में पूछोगे या आप अपने से पूछो, आपके बहुत सारे बच्चे शायद हॉस्टल्स में रहते होंगे या रेंटल पीजीज में रहते होंगे, they have this issue of getting the right kind of nutrition or not, right? उनकी प्रॉब्लम होती है कि बाहर के खाने में वो न्यूट्रिशन नहीं होता। so what is the solution and how much money they are ready to willing to pay? so अगर आप अपने दोस्तों में ऐसे लोगों में सर्वे करें एंड फिगर आउट कि वो कितना पैसा देने को तैयार हैं, so that would be the price points you need to hit. so that means roughly अपने एग्जाम्पल में हम सोचें तो 50 रुपए कोई दे देगा खाना, मतलब अगर रोज की 50 रुपए का कुछ सप्लीमेंट मिलता है और उससे उसे रोज के न्यूट्रिशन, प्रोटीन्स, विटामिन मेटल और सारे के सारे मिनरल्स वगैरह सब पूरे हो जाते हैं, would you be willing to pay 50 rupees a day? Yes, that's something doable, right? He can skip also one of the days, but वो 1000-1500 रुपए उसको खर्च करना है additional. So then, yes, people would be willing to pay that. So that means the price range should be around 50 to 100 rupees per day, not more than that, right? So is there enough customer for that product? क्या आपके कस्टमर उतने हैं जितने आप सोच रहे हो, right? आपने एक प्रॉब्लम फाइंड की, उसकी सोल्यूशन ढूंढी, लेकिन पता चला वो उतने कस्टमर ही नहीं उसके। So we'll come to these examples at the end of this, right? So in nutshell, what we were trying to figure out: do customer want this product? क्या उनको चाहिए ये प्रोडक्ट, या तुमने अपने दिमाग में हवा महल खड़ा कर लिया और सोच लिया कि हाँ लोगों को चाहिए होगा। Then viable, it is very important now. This is the third main constituent, viability of a product. So that means, is the economically attractiveness है उस अपॉर्चुनिटी की या नहीं है। यानी हाँ एक प्रॉब्लम है, हाँ उसकी लोग सोल्यूशन ढूंढ रहे हैं, लेकिन वो सोल्यूशन लेट से पूरे हिंदुस्तान में 2000 लोग ढूंढ रहे हैं और उसकी लेट से मैक्सिमम वैल्यू वो दे सकते हैं 10,000 रुपया। सो 2000 into 10,000, यानी आपको पूरा का पूरा मार्केट भी मिल जाए, जो बड़ा इम्पॉसिबल होता है। लेट से 2000 लोगों ने आपका 10,000 रुपए का सोल्यूशन ढूंढ लिया, खरीद लिया। सो 2000 into 10,000 is 2 CR, तो 2 करोड़ का टोटल रेवेन्यू है उस प्रोडक्ट का पूरी जिंदगी का, राइट? वुड यू लाइक टू गेट इनटू अ थिंग which has this value? Some people would say yes, I can go if the entry bar is less. लेकिन अगर लेट्स से अगर आपको पूछा जाए कि उसको लगाने के लिए 20 लाख 25 लाख रुपए लगेंगे स्टार्ट करने के लिए, would you still go for that product? The answer would be no. आप 25 लाख रुपए एक टोटल मार्केट साइज जिसका 2 करोड़ है उसके लिए भी शायद नहीं इन्वेस्ट करोगे। नो इन्वेस्टर वुड डू इट। सो दैट मींस उसके लिए प्रॉपर इकोनॉमिक अपॉर्चुनिटी होनी चाहिए। व्हाट्स द एप्रोप्रिएट बिजनेस मॉडल? क्या मैं घर घर जाके बेचूं? क्या मैं ऑनलाइन डिलीवरी करूं? क्या मैं रेगुलर मार्केट में किराना की स्टोर पे पकड़ा दूं, जो नॉर्मल चैनल होता है, CNF एजेंट, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, रिटेलर वाला? वुड दैट बी अ बेटर मॉडल? हर एक के मार्जिन को अगर देखूं, क्या वो पुश करेंगे? या लेट्स से मैं इसको कुछ और नए तरीके से ले सकता हूँ। क्या मैं पान की दुकान से बेच सकता हूँ? क्या मैं नाई की दुकान पे रख सकता हूँ? क्या मैं जो सुबह जो सब्जी वाले होते हैं उनके यहाँ रख सकता हूँ? You can think of anything. What is the right way to approach your customer and what is the most economical way for you to? उसका खर्चा ही आपको पहुंचाने का उतना आ जाएगा, people would not. लेट्स से अगर आपने कहा डिलीवरी देते हैं और डिलीवरी में लोग देने को तैयार नहीं, रोज का 50 रुपए का मंगाना है, लेट्स से अगर वो फ्रेश है, लेकिन अगर मैं एक हफ्ते का या एक महीने का इकट्ठा मंगा सकता हूँ, दैट मीन्स मैं एक बार में भेज सकता हूँ कस्टमर को एंड आई एम डन एंड द कस्टमर इज ऑल्सो डन। So that means there is a proper business model, supply chain model. How is competition for that product? मैं जो प्रोडक्ट निकालने जा रहा हूँ, क्या दूसरे 5 मिनट में ही वो प्रोडक्ट निकाल सकते हैं, या उनको टाइम लगेगा उस प्रोडक्ट को निकालने में? या जिस दिन मैंने लॉन्च किया पता चला उसी दिन बड़ी कंपनी आ गई। फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे क्लब हाउस आया जिस टाइम, सो क्लब हाउस आया जैसे ही पॉपुलर हुआ, सभी मेजर सोशल मीडिया वालों ने अपने यहाँ पे वो ट्विटर ने स्पेस कर दिया, इंस्टा ने कुछ कर दिया, सो सबने टिकटॉक जैसे पॉपुलर हुआ तो इंस्टा ने रील निकाल दिया, फेसबुक ने भी स्टोरीज निकाल दिया, सबने उसका प्रोडक्ट का पैरेलल निकाल दिया। सो दैट मींस देयर वाज नॉट मच ऑफ अ टाइम फॉर द कंपटीशन टू ब्रिंग इनटू माय मार्केट। सो वो हमें देखना है क्या मैं उस वक्त तक सारी कितनी मार्केट कैप्चर कर पाऊंगा, क्या मेरा यूएसपी रहेगा कस्टमर के लिए. यूएसपी इज यूनिक सेलिंग प्रपोजिशन और यूवीपी यूनिक वैल्यू प्रपोजिशन. एम आई गिविंग दैट? सो मेरा प्रोडक्ट कितने दिन तक चलेगा. जैसे मैंने कोई सॉल्यूशन निकाला, आई गिव यू एग्जांपल. इफ यू रिमेंबर, there was I'll come to that later on, right? I think I have included that example, so we'll come to that in the product. So what question we want to answer here is, should we do this? हम कर सकते हैं. That means हमने पीछे क्या देखा? So पहला क्वेश्चन क्या किया? कैन वी डू दिस? क्या हम ये कर सकते हैं? इज इट पॉसिबल? हाँ पॉसिबल है. ओके, वन चेक. सेकेंड इज, डू द कस्टमर वांट दिस प्रोडक्ट? क्या कस्टमर को चाहिए ये प्रोडक्ट? आंसर इज यस. ओके, हाँ जी, कस्टमर को भी चाहिए ये प्रोडक्ट. थर्ड इज इट वायबल? दैट मीन्स शुड वी डू दिस? एक कस्टमर भी है, वो भी है, क्या इसको करना चाहिए? क्या हमें उतना पैसा मिलेगा? क्या हम मार्केट में कैप्चर कर पाएंगे? क्या लंबे समय तक हम कर सकते हैं? क्या इसको स्केल अप कर सकते हैं? So once you answer all these questions, then it would be, should we do this? Once you answer these questions, you come to the product market fit pyramid. So this is, so आपका प्रॉब्लम है, प्रोडक्ट है और आपका बिजनेस मॉडल है, तीनों फिट हो रहे हैं, नहीं हो रहे. अभी हमने क्या चीज देखी? दो चीज देखी थी, प्रॉब्लम और प्रोडक्ट, प्रोडक्ट और मार्केट, राइट? सो प्रॉब्लम और प्रोडक्ट, प्रोडक्ट और मार्केट. उसके बाद we need to see business model to market fit. So ये आंसर हमने इसमें अभी पिछला थर्ड क्वेश्चन था उसमें करने की कोशिश करी. बट दिस इज तो द साइकिल इज, फर्स्ट आप मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी देखते हो, फिर उसको प्रॉपरली स्क्रीन करते हो. जस्ट अ सेकंड. Sorry guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so so you screen it, you then market, you validate in the market problem. That means you get a survey done initially, figure out primary research से, फिर ideate करते हो कि solution क्या है, उसके बाद product का concept develop करते हो, फिर validate करते हो concept को. So this is in a nutshell what we have done. पहले हमने प्रॉब्लम और सॉल्यूशन चेक किया, हमने जान लिया कि जो हम सॉल्यूशन दे रहे हैं वो हमारी प्रॉब्लम को सही तरह एड्रेस करता है या नहीं. उसके बाद जब हमारे पास सॉल्यूशन आ गया, उसके बाद हमने देखा कि क्या ये सॉल्यूशन यानी सर्विस या प्रोडक्ट, क्या ये मार्केट में फिट बैठता है या नहीं. तो हमने ये दो चीजें चेक कर ली. आई गिव यू एग्जांपल्स नाउ. एप्पल, राइट? In 2000, starting of 2000, Apple company was already a big name in computers, personal computers, and they have created one very great product which was called iPod. I don't know how many of you even know this product, but if you remember, there was a product called iPod, and it was a very big craze, right? It killed Walkman. So it was just a device where you can have lot many songs and music into this, and that music can be played with via earphones or headphones or whatever, right? So that was a very small device. They came and they became big. Then the market at that time was coming up with these new age phones, right? And at that time there were few companies which were ruling the roost of those phones. Were Nokia, which had normal handy hands, and then the market was developing, and BlackBerry was a big name, which was a basically a more or less commercial official product where people used to do, and people who use BlackBerry like me would swear by it that was a very wonderful product at that time, right? It was way ahead of its time. It was like very fast, blah blah blah, this and that, right? But it was very good for BBM, BlackBerry messages, which was very instant. By that time there was only SMS available, right? Apple was thinking, what should I do? Because there were new smartphones which were started to come in the market, in terms of which have that device, and they would have a, something called uh, uh, music on that also, because storage was available. Now Apple wanted to develop a product, get into that market. Why? Because they wanted to secure the market for iPod. And there was one more thing they created: iTunes. Right, it was a repository of huge repository of music, so they could access that. Now what they had were two things sorted out. So they wanted to just go into the third one, which was the device, handheld device, which can be used as a phone. So they came up with a device with a full screen on, no keypad, and that is how they came into the market. And they knew that there is, because they were already good at marketing, they were already good at creating a story around a product, they were good at creating a high value product for the market. They were good at engineering also. So they came up with iPhone, and after that it's a history. Right, the initial iPhones were not a success, right, because by that time BlackBerry was ruling the market. But slowly, when people started realizing that this is something big and this is much more convenient, and then smartphone became, so Apple iPhone was one of the major booster for that market, and it allowed Apple to survive, because iPod was supposed to go, and all the people who used to have iPod, they switched to iPhone, so they could keep that a huge market share with them. Google, when come, I don't know how many of you know that at that time there were other search engines also, like Yahoo was one search engine, and there were other 3-4 search engines also. But what Google did differently? Anybody would like to answer why Google became the most successful search engine? Anyone? Okay. The reason Google became the most successful search engine was because Google allowed one small change. That one small, the other search engine used to do कि आपका जो search result आता था उसके आसपास आप ऐड दे सकते थे, उसमें ऐड दे सकते थे. Now what Google did was they started doing a crawling method. So the technology allowed, so you using AdSense, the technology was AdSense. So that that means Google would be doing a lot of scanning of the entire internet, and then based on those keywords, it would fetch your results, and the result itself becomes an advertisement where you are positioned. So, and that's why you remember SEO became, search engine optimization became a very big thing. Till date, it is quite a big thing. Right, so that is what Google brought in. So he said, fine enough, the search itself becomes an advertisement, provided you have to have access to the AdSense of it. And suddenly, the revenue of AdSense, like few years back, is $1 trillion, about that. No, $100 billion, not 1 trillion, around $100 billion. And that is the value, that is the revenue of one single product, AdSense, for Google. Right. Geo, we all know. Half of you might not know the actual story of Geo. People know Geo from they have gone into this and they are so big and blah blah blah. No, the real story of Geo started in 98, 99, when the government started allowing private players to set up these optical fiber network across India. Reliance was the first company who got into this, and they started laying down the optical fiber across India. And it was not known to most of the people outside. The government gave them the contract for laying down 2 lines of optical fiber. That means 2 bundled, there's a bigger wire which comes, so cable, right? So the government allowed them to have 2 cables. This was the tender granted, right? So one was for BSNL and VSNL, and one was for the private players. So the Reliance was supposed to use it as they wanted. What Reliance did was, instead of 2, क्योंकि खोदना एक बार था, भरना एक बार था, So instead of 2, they spent money and they did 5 optical cables everywhere. 5. And one of those cables, they sold it to AT&T at that time, and their entire money was recovered. So rest 3 cables became free. So one was government was paying for the rest of the exercise because BSNL was, yet it was taken by Reliance as a very low rate. By selling the next cable to AT&T, they got all rest of the 3 wires uh, cost done with that. So that's the real success. So they were well ahead of the curve when the whole thing came, and that's why they could set up the 3G and 4G much faster than anybody else, right? Netflix. This was the example I was thinking at that time. So Netflix is a company which you all know right now, but it was not a company which was dealing in online material. Netflix initially was primarily into DVDs, right? So they used to have DVD stores and all that. So those were network or DVD stores which they had. So now they knew that DVDs are going to die, right? And internet is coming in a much more that data sharing. There was something called Napster, and then you have torrents and all that. So people started using internet for streaming or getting those video files. Now Netflix then realized that they need to go online, and that's what they did. So they understood the market. They realized that customer is going there, right? And that's when they go there. Recently, you must have heard Netflix have declared that India, they want to go out of India because India is a failure market for them. Why? Because they did not try and understood the customer here. They were in their this thing that we all understand the customer, and we would give whatever we are being given in US and other countries. We would supply the same material to these guys with obviously a local customization. But Indian market did not. The whole strategy failed in Indian market, and they did not like that kind of concept. Second thing is obviously, aap sab log India has a very different tendency, right? But I am sure that most of you would have are aware that Netflix का एक account बनता है, उसके 4 लोग use कर रहे होते हैं. So सब दोस्तों में बढ़ जाता है वो profile, so that everybody is using it. So this is what has been done in India, which also made that Netflix had lower revenues. So, but they could not do anything much about it, and the major failure was on the content part. So these are the examples where market fit or this problem fit was achieved. How to achieve the product market fit? Determine your target customer. Important in the first step, also in the second step also. I identify underserved customer needs. कस्टमर को यू वुड फाइंड आउट कि कुछ लोग ऑलरेडी वो जो आपकी प्रॉब्लम है वो सॉल्यूशन है मार्केट में, चाहे नेचुरल मार्केट थी चाहे कंपटीटर मार्केट थी, सप्लीमेंट्री प्रोडक्ट्स हैं उसको, लेकिन कुछ चीजें जो हैं वो अंडरसर्व्ड है. फिगर दैट आउट. Define your value proposition clearly. This is one problem which most of the Indian startups do not do well, is define their value proposition well. So what is the exact core value you are giving? And the reason why they fail to do this, because they don't work on the copy pen, right? They don't jot it down, they don't do the whole process, right? Specify your minimum viable product, which is very, very important. Most of the students which are going these days, they are coming into these app-based or internet-based startups. You need to come up with MVP. People, and I've made this mistake twice in my life, right? In my 2 ventures, we made this mistake. We wanted to create a wonderful product, and we kept on building it. By the time once this kind notebandi happened, demonetization happened, and our investor went away. Second time, our investor invested into something bigger. Then he said, "Oh, no, I don't want to put money into this." So what we could have done, if he would have given us clarity that, okay, this is the money I would invest for this much time, we would have gone for MVP and launched in the market and figure out the customer. And then that's the solution we could have gone. Create your MVP prototype. So once you have defined क्या क्या चीजें चाहिए होंगी एमवीपी में, उसके बाद आप अपना प्रोटोटाइप स्टेज पे जाओ and then test your MVP with the customer. Don't go without testing. Figure out whether people are ready to buy your product, how interactive your product is, what is the kind of interaction people are having with your product, right? So this in nutshell was product market fit. I'm open to questions. If anybody wants to have questions, let's have them.
Students, please write your questions and queries in the chat box.
Nothing? All clear or all clear? In any case, because sometimes people do feel that they cannot discuss their idea in open platforms. So you are most welcome to connect with me. Any of your professors you are in touch, they can give you my connect. I'm available most of the time. So you guys can, get in touch with me to discuss the specific questions if you have regarding your own ideas, your own startup. And you need to, if you have some idea, you need to discuss it more, right? छाती से लगा के कोई बिलियनियर नहीं बन जाता. As the Prime Minister was saying yesterday, people who dream, they are sleeping, right? You need to act on those dreams to make them realize. So start discussing, come out.
Good afternoon, all. I, Dr. Poonam, first take the opportunity to thank our IIC head, Professor Lakhvinder Singh, Dr. Sapna Ma'am, Dr. Parul Tomar, and the complete IIC fraternity for the motivation of this event. I should mention the deep meaning of appreciation for Mr. Ajay Sharma, head JC Bose Business Incubator, for his explanation about achieving problem solution fit and product market fit. He covered excellent coverage of his speech ideas with the very root level examples, and he encouraged our student. Thank you so much, sir, for giving your valuable time from your busy schedule. At the last, I thank all the participants for your participation and to make this event a success. And I am as your class coordinator, and Gunjan ma'am also your class coordinator. If you have further any doubt, any query, if you are hesitate to ask here, you may write at my personal chat, and I will definitely share that with the Ajay sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. And once again, thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights and times. This was a great and wonderful session. Now, I request everyone to please switch on their cameras so that we can capture this wonderful moment.
Chirag, if you can give them the rights to switch on their cameras.
Done, ma'am.
Yeah. Everyone is requested to switch on the cameras. Neha, I think we are done with the pictures.
Thank you so much, everyone. We owe a big success. We owe a big thanks to the participants for this success of the event. Thank you so much. We hope to see you again in next session of ours. Thank you, sir, and thank you, every participant.